Dead in Mumbai Minute is a murder mystery featuring the detective Reema Ray, who first appeared in the Masala murder in 2012. And in that book, she was running her own PI agency in Calcutta, and it was quite a small outfit. And she stumbled upon the murder of a spice trader that she knew through her other work channels. And from that, she attracted a lot of attention because it was quite a high-profile case, which she managed to solve. And she was hired by someone she met on that case to work in a security agency called Titanium in Mumbai. So in this book, Dead in a Mumbai Minute, we see her as she starts out on this new job. And very soon after she starts, she is handed the case of the year, which is the murder of a person on the private island of one of Bollywood's leading film stars. So it's quite an intriguing case. It's on an island. The cast of characters is very small. The possible suspects are a very small, close circle of friends who are all very high profile in their own way. And so we see her as she makes this move from small-time detective to big-town person who has to dodge paparazzi and other interested parties to actually solve this crime, which then emerges to have quite deep roots and takes her in very unexpected directions. And by the end of it, she's stronger and more confident and proves herself able to take on the challenge, even in this, completely foreign, crazy world. There is a transformation in her environment. She finds herself in alien territory, which poses a large number of problems because being an investigator of this sort calls upon her to have a certain knowledge of the terrain, a certain familiarity with the city, and she doesn't have any of that. But at the same time, she has this huge machinery of this very, very large security agency now at her disposal. And that in itself turns out to have very interesting angles and has the potential to see Reema in even more alien territory in the future. It's a very cutting-edge agency which has roots in Indian Army operations overseas and intelligence and all sorts of things that are only hinted at in this book. So she's finding her feet in this huge company where she has to prove herself as a very young, green female investigator. She's quite out of place. And in that, we do see her transform to some extent, but I really do see it more as just her coming into her own rather than a transformation per se. It's more a question of her finding her confidence as an investigator, having really cut her teeth on infidelity cases and small mysteries and small cases that didn't call for this amount of coordination with different, state actors or very uncooperative people wherever she goes. And here, she finds herself on her own after a while, despite having joined a larger agency. She's left her own devices once again, and actually it's her Calcutta small-time investigator experience which bails her out, because she knows how to do that. She knows how to be on the outside looking in, and she's quite good at that. I have no background in technology. I tried to do as extensive research as I could, mostly online, also speaking to people who knew more about these things that I do. I read a lot, so and I think my approach has always been, when I don't know, to not include facts which were wrong, but just to make it something that any lay reader could understand. And so to approach it as a layperson, present it as a layperson, so it would appeal to someone who didn't have great technical depth either. I've tried to keep it as correct as possible to the best of my knowledge. The facts are facts, they're true, but I'm not an expert in these subjects. Unfortunately, I'm not that, exciting as a person. I've kind of always wanted to be a writer, but I've always loved reading about detectives and reading murder mysteries and any sort of mystery, pretty much. And so I guess the fantasy was to write a murder mystery, not to be a real detective. So that was wish fulfillment. But well, I think my books are not about, fast-paced action scenes. I mean, there might be some passages which are, see Rima throwing a kick or a punch or whatever, but it's not about gritty physical action. It is very much more about character. And in that, I don't think, I wouldn't dare to say that I'm like Agatha Christie, but I feel like maybe the story unfolds in a way that, her readers would be more familiar with. It's led by people, led by conversation, led by deduction. It's not, about guns and bombs and warfare. I think it was more to do with who Shayak was. He's the character who's introduced in Masala Murder, who is her future boss and, is the romantic interest also in both of the novels. He was based in Mumbai. It seemed logical because of the nature of work he was doing. He was quite a high-profile security professional, and he was working extensively with people in Bollywood as well as politicians and industry and all of that. So really it would have to be either Bombay or Delhi, and Bombay it was. No, not really. Actually, the working title was just a Mumbai Minute, and it was in keeping with the MM theme that was started with the Masala Murder, and it was, it just came to me, really. It wasn't something that, I can give you a lengthy analysis on, but quite honestly, it seemed quite soft. The third book is very much being written at the moment. She's headed to Goa, and the roots of that case are laid in this book. So that's pretty well established by the end of this book. And it's going to be quite different in pace and content than, definitely, she's come a long way since Masala Murder. It's more in keeping with the tone of Dead in a Mumbai Minute, which was a little less light maybe, and a little more gritty. I don't think either of them are particularly gritty, but yeah. And the third one definitely has her in far more danger, that stakes are much higher. And if you've read the Dead in a Mumbai Minute, the ground has been laid, so it won't be totally a surprise for people who are, but it will also stand on its own, so it's quite possible to read that. I had envisioned it as a 3-part series, so we'll have to see about that. I'm not saying that I wouldn't do more murder mystery. I probably would at some point. I have ideas already, but not necessarily for this character, but that door is always open.